What's good, guys? Welcome back to another weekly market forecast with me, Tremaine, and in today's one we're going to go through the DXY, Aussie CAD, Swiss Yen, New Zealand Dollar JPY and USD ZAR. So to kick things off, guys, let's get into the DXY. Getting into the DXY, guys, we're on the weekly chart, and what we can see from a weekly perspective is that things really pretty much haven't changed. So last week we observed these previous support structures, obviously an area that markets have not retested, and what we concluded is that prices are currently retesting those previous supports from a weekly perspective. So now if we go down onto the daily, we'll obviously see a lot more clearer structure, and what we've done for ourselves is that we've aligned some structure, or we've observed some daily resistance areas, because we can see that we do have some equal lows over here in this area here. We've got a set of lows, we see prices coming down, we have a green candlestick obviously showing us a reaction from this area before market pushed to the downside. Now obviously we've marked out those resistance areas over there from a daily perspective, and what we can see is that prices have retested those areas. Now obviously we've seen a nice big bearish engulfing candlestick, but we obviously still do need to go down onto those smaller time frames to observe the nature of the price action. Now what we've previously had here on the daily was this nice expanding structure where we had isolated our support and our resistance trend lines, and obviously we've isolated another further ascending structure within the structure, and we observe that prices have broken above our nice beautiful ascending structure, and obviously we're waiting for prices to break back into the structure. So what we're going to do for ourselves is obviously just mark out the structure, this nice beautiful ascending structure, just so that we still have some reference as to what was last week's analysis or last week's bias. So what we still do have here is this ascending structure, guys, and what we will see if we go down onto a 4-hour is our beautiful 4-hour uptrend that has been broken. So if we go there and just obviously just slap on an ascending trend line, what we will see is that we had this market from a 4-hourly perspective that has been pushing to the upside over here. We've seen this nice beautiful uptrend, and then recently on Friday we've seen the market now violating our support trend line and obviously breaking to the downside. So what we do have here, guys, is some new downside momentum from a 4-hourly perspective. So the momentum that we've been expecting from last week obviously only came in on Friday, and what we're going to be looking for over the course of next week is for that continuation of this momentum. So we obviously see that prices have broken back below this resistance area, which is obviously also some previous support structures that prices have obviously pushed above, broken back below nice and impulsively, and are yet to retest. So that's exactly what we will be waiting for, guys, over the course of next week on the DXY. What we have is a nice momentum to the downside. All we need to be waiting for is for that nice continuation structure for our downside continuation of this new sell side momentum. What we will also have to guide our analysis and guide obviously the setup that we're looking for is we still have this expanding structure, or this ascending structure rather. In this case we have this ascending structure that has broken out of our structure at our third touch, and obviously once prices break back into our structure, like you guys do see, we do have key important support areas marked out over there. So obviously once prices do break below those key support structures over there, what we will be waiting for, guys, is for a nice beautiful retest of our resistance areas once prices obviously have broken back into our structure. And once we see obviously this price action here, then we have some confirmation for some higher time frame downside momentum. So guys, over the course of next week and hopefully over the course of this whole month, the month of December, we're going to be looking for those sell biased trading opportunities on the DXY. So guys, we're on Aussie CAD on the daily, and what we can see about this price action is that in this move to the upside, we've got prices giving us some nice important support areas. We've seen prices breaking above our previous resistance areas, and now we see price approaching these previous support areas, but obviously we can see the nature of what price is doing at those support structures over there. Now obviously what we've done for ourselves is on the daily we've refined our areas and found some support obviously in this area over here. What we can see is that it was previous resistance areas from a nice weekly perspective that has been broken above. So we have these higher structures over there. We've seen prices breaking above these higher structures, not really retesting. And what can we see about price action is that right now price action is at that support structure over there. So if we just come into the most recent price action here on our daily, what we will see about this price action is that we have seen this market being in obviously some sort of a descending structure, giving us two beautiful touches of our trend line. First touch there, second touch there, and guess what, price is at the nice third touch of this descending trend line, and as well as in our support region that we've identified from a higher time frame perspective there in the past. Now obviously when we drop down onto our 4 hour, we will be looking for the nature in price action that obviously gives us those points of interest as to where should we be looking for those trading opportunities. So what we do see here is obviously this nice beautiful descending structure. So this descending structure has given us a nice resistance trend line. So obviously what we can use for our bias is that once prices do break this resistance trend line to the upside, we can be looking for those continuation structures for that upside momentum. Now in addition guys, we do have a nice beautiful 3-touch structure from a 4 hourly perspective. So we've got our first touch in this area here, we've got our second touch right here, and obviously prices can come down to give us that nice beautiful third touch of structure before we see that upside momentum, hopefully maybe prices even breaking back within our structure. What structure am I talking about? I'm talking guys about this nice beautiful descending structure that we have obviously our first touch and second touch of, and if prices do break to the outside of or to the downside of the structure, what we will be waiting for is for prices to break back into the structure and then obviously give us our continuation structures to the upside. But nonetheless guys, we are bullish bias on Aussie CAD, and obviously one of the setups that we spoke about is obviously this buy down low, but looking at where prices are still within the structure, still within this nice beautiful descending structure over here. So what we could be waiting for is for a nice reversal pattern from price in this area over here. If prices do give us a nice structure that allows us to take a nice bullish bias setup from this region over here guys, we will be looking to take those setups. Why? Because we are at some higher time frame support. So guys, that is our nice beautiful bullish bias on Aussie CAD. Regardless of a risk entry or a reduced risk entry, we will be reacting to price and trading what price action gives us. What we need to know is that we are at our higher time frame support structures here, where we could obviously find those bullish bias setups. And another thing that we need to understand is which direction are we looking to trade. So we've got our point of interest, we're at support, and we're looking to trade those bullish bias setups, and so we should be looking for any bullish bias structure, any bullish criteria, entry criteria that does give us an opportunity to trade this directional bias at this higher time frame point of interest. So guys, bullish bias on Aussie CAD over the course of next week. So guys, we're on Swiss yen from a daily perspective, and what we can see about Swiss yen is that Swiss yen is in some sort of an ascending structure, and we do know the nature of these ascending structures is to break to the downside. So we do understand that from a higher time frame perspective, like a weekly perspective or like a daily perspective, we want to align ourselves on the downside momentum, or obviously we want to align ourselves in the direction of whichever higher time frame momentum we can see coming in. Now what we do see about this price action here from a daily as well is price action has broken above a previous resistance area over here, so we'll just mark that out over there. So we've got our previous resistance area here that we see prices breaking above nice and impulsively. After we've seen this impulsive price action, what we then need to do is obviously go down onto that 4 hour to observe the nature of this structure that we are seeing. So we can still see that momentum to the upside, and we can obviously still see that prices have given us some sort of a corrective structure after our momentum to the upside that has violated some previous resistance. What we do understand from a higher time frame perspective is that we do want to be bearish, but nature of price action on a 4 hour is not giving us bearish biased structure for us to be able to trade. So what we will be waiting for guys on Swiss yen is that now that we've isolated this beautiful descending structure, we've got our first touch in this area, we've got our second touch over here. What we can expect from price action is for price to come down, give us our third touch of price action. Hopefully we have some support structures over there that we can wait for price action to break back above. Once we've seen price action obviously giving us opportunities to enter in form of a reduced risk entry, then obviously we can be looking for those bullish bias setups on Swiss yen. So guys, Swiss yen, we're going to be bullish bias, obviously just trading the nature of the price action that we can see, and if price action has a different plan, then obviously we won't even find an opportunity to enter this trade. So what we will be waiting for guys is for price action to come and give us our third touch, and then obviously react so that we can find a nice beautiful either risk entry or reduced risk entry for bullish biased price action. So guys, we're on New Zealand dollar JPY on the daily guys, and what we can see about this price action is that we have sort of similarly to Swiss yen given a nice beautiful 3-touch structure. So we've got our first touch resistance, second touch in this area, we've seen prices giving us a third touch over there, and obviously what we can see is prices, unlike Swiss yen, on New Zealand dollar JPY, guys, from a daily perspective, we are seeing prices breaking back below our previous resistance areas. Yes, prices did kind of correct towards these resistance areas, but we obviously saw some nice downside momentum on Friday. So what we will be waiting for, guys, simply enough on New Zealand dollar JPY, is because we can see where our higher time frame momentum is, we want to find trades in that direction. So all we'll be waiting for, since price is in an impulsive move right now, what we will be waiting for on New Zealand dollar JPY, guys, is for a nice beautiful corrective structure to form, allowing us to find those bearish bias trading opportunities, whether it's at the third touch of our ascending structure or whatever kind of setup price gives us. Guys, we do have a point of interest here, previous resistances. We see prices breaking above, breaking back below, so obviously we know that price can come back and retest this area before we see that extended downside momentum. Now, guys, because it is the end of the year on New Zealand dollar JPY, the New Zealand dollar JPY especially has that tendency to want to enter an impulsive phase and then just run. So because of that, and just because of the nature of the price action, we're not going to be looking for very large structures for our downside continuation, but what we will be looking for is for small structures like this structure over here. Maybe a structure that might last a week or a couple of days. That kind of a corrective structure also might give us a bearish trading opportunity, just because of we're expecting the nature of New Zealand dollar JPY to sort of change within this last month of the year. So guys, we're expecting that downside momentum. All we need to wait for is for prices on New Zealand dollar JPY to respect and come obviously and retest our previous resistance areas. And once we see prices coming back to those areas there, we will look for our bearish bias trading opportunities for that downside momentum on New Zealand dollar JPY to basically try and see if we can complete this impulse correction, impulse nature in price from a higher time frame perspective. So guys, we're on USDZAR from a daily perspective, and this is the last pair that we're going to have a look at for our weekly market forecast. And what I might say is probably going to be the most interesting pair in terms of a higher time frame swing trading opportunity. Guys, looking at the nature into this price action, what we can see obviously is price action coming in from the top. So we were in sort of this nice descending structure over there. Obviously we expected that upside momentum, but we can see how did price leave this structure. We left in sort of a corrective manner. So what we've done for ourselves is we've isolated a nice 3-touch structure, seeing that prices have now broken out of the third touch of our ascending structure, and as well as this resistance area over here. What can we expect from price action? We can expect price to obviously want to retest this previous area before we see that upside continuation. But what do we have from a DXY perspective, guys? From a DXY perspective, we are expecting to see some bearish momentum from the DXY, at least completing this ascending structure at the 90% rule. So what that tells us for USDZAR is that we can be looking for those higher time frame swing trading opportunities, hopefully for price to give us that reversal structure right now, since we're at some resistance areas from a nice daily and from a nice weekly perspective as well. From a weekly perspective, guys, what we do have is price action giving us support in this area, breaking below, and obviously now we are seeing price action retesting this previous area of support, now potentially as resistance. So what we're going to be expecting here is obviously waiting for that reversal structure to form for us on on USDZAR before we begin to look for those bearish bias trading opportunities. Now let's go down onto the 4 hour just so that we can observe a little bit of nature in price action to be safe rather than sorry on the USDZAR. So what we will be doing, guys, on USDZAR is putting in or plotting a nice support trend line. So obviously observing what kind of a 4 hour uptrend we have going on here on USDZAR. Now once we've got this nice support trend line, all we're going to be doing, guys, on USDZAR is we're going to be looking for those reversal structures to begin to form on the upside of our trend line. Now what we will be doing is any setups that form above our trend line are risk entries. Any setups that form after price action has violated our support trend line nice and impulsively will be considered to be those reduced risk entries and will give us better trading opportunities. So just like the DXY, guys, we waited for price action to reverse first, for price action to first violate the support trend line, And then we obviously started looking for those continuation structures. So same as USDZAR, guys, we need to wait for price action to obviously reverse in the direction that we're looking to trade. So let's wait for price action to first of all violate our support trend line. And once we've seen price action violating our support trend line, then guys, we begin to start looking for those higher time frame bearish momentum trading opportunities, all the way at least to the 90% rule of the structure on USDZAR. So guys, USDZAR might give us a beautiful swing trading opportunity over the course of the next week. So let's be vigilant, let's watch this pair. Even if we don't find any trading opportunities, let's watch USDZAR, because USDZAR provides beautiful price action that we can always be learning from. And guys, we have reached probably the conclusion of this weekly market forecast. If you guys have enjoyed the weekly market forecast, guys, drop a like on this video. Let me know that you guys have received the value that was intended for you guys. Otherwise, if it's your first time on the channel, please do subscribe before you leave the video. Thanks so much, guys, for watching until the end of this video. This is Tremaine, your FX Chaser's mentor. We'll see you guys in the future videos. Cheers.